De Tele13 viajó a Pensilvania y conoció de primera mano los horrores de los abusos cometidos por más de 300 sacerdotes. Mónica Pérez escuchó los testimonios desgarradores de las víctimas. Muchas de ellas reconocieron sus abusos cuando eran adultos y ahora no pueden demandar ni encarcelar a sus agresores.
Más de 1000 niños fueron abusados sexualmente a manos de más de 300 sacerdotes católicos aquí en el estado de Pensilvania. Es una de las principales conclusiones de un informe que fue elaborado por un gran jurado y la fiscalía de este estado. Crímenes que fueron cometidos durante décadas, porque el informe también establece la complicidad de los obispos para ocultar estos crímenes.
And that's the day where he was plying us with so much alcohol. He eventually took me into his bedroom, tried to he was putting me in all these sexual positions that teach me about these positions. And then he put me in the 69 position and started performing oral sex on me.
Never move past this. Till the day I die, I won't move past it, because every day there are signs that remind me of him and the abuse.
You're afraid. You know, everybody loves the guy. You know, he's the most beloved guy in the church.
Sharon Tell tenía solo 12 años cuando el cura de su parroquia y gran amigo de su familia empezó a meterse en su cama y a tocarla mientras ella se hacía la dormida.
And I was really afraid that he would know that I was awake. And if he knew that I was awake, what would I say? I didn't know how I would react to that, because I didn't want him to know anything. And
Sean Doherty comenzó a ser abusado a los 10 años. Su sacerdote era además su entrenador de básquetbol y su profesor de religión.
It began as fondling, tickling, going up to groping, and he had a liking for the male genitalia. I believe he wanted to know the exact day that we were sexually mature.
James conoció a su abusador con solo 5 años. Recuerda que siempre lo hizo sentir especial hasta que comenzó a intimar con él.
Father Martin was aware of that, and he knew, therefore, when I was the most vulnerable. And that's when he was able to take advantage of me and the weakness that I was experiencing at that time.
Sharon, Sean y James guardaron silencio durante años, con una verdad que ni ellos eran capaces de procesar y que nadie quiso escuchar.
The grand jury uncovered credible evidence of sexual abuse against 301 predator priests.
Durante más de 2 años, un jurado de 23 ciudadanos anónimos investigaron todas las denuncias de abusos sexuales a menores cometidas por sacerdotes católicos en 6 diócesis del estado de Pensilvania. Las conclusiones de ese informe recién se conocieron el pasado 14 de agosto, tras una importante batalla contra la jerarquía de la Iglesia estadounidense, que luchó por silenciarlo. En la presentación, el fiscal de Pensilvania estuvo rodeado de muchas de las víctimas que apenas contenían las lágrimas.
You see, church officials routinely and purposefully described the abuse as horseplay and wrestling and inappropriate contact. It was none of those things. It was child sexual abuse, including rape, committed by grown men, priests, against children.
When I was 10 years old, entering the 5th grade of St. Clement's Parish in school, in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, where I grew up. My religion teacher, who is also my priest and my basketball coach, Father George Koharchik, began to sexually assault me and some of my fellow classmates at St. Clement's Parish.
Con la excusa de enseñarles a manejar, el padre George subía a los niños a su falda al interior de su automóvil y mientras ellos movían el volante, él les tocaba los genitales.
Until I was around 13 years old, we were naked in a shower after a racquetball match, and he was bathing me thoroughly, and he stuck his finger in my anus. And at that point, I could no longer dismiss the other stuff as accident. I shot him a stern look, and not a word was spoken, and it stopped for me.
Sean tuvo suerte. Otros niños no fueron tan afortunados. Según la investigación, un grupo de al menos 4 sacerdotes abusaron de niños pequeños usando látigos, violencia y sadismo. Uno de los menores fue obligado a pararse sobre una cama, desnudo, y posar como Cristo en la cruz, mientras los sacerdotes le sacaban fotos para la colección de pornografía infantil que compartían. Sharon soportó el abuso sexual del carismático cura amigo de la familia por 20 años. Del toqueteo infantil, cuando entró a la universidad, pasaron al acto sexual.
I went to Catholic school for 13 years. The priest was next to God. So I was really not sure what was happening. So when he was abusing me, I went back to that 12-year-old child. Then it continued till I was 32. He married myself. He baptized my 3 children. Later on, he buried my mother.
Los abusos descritos en el informe son amplios. Muchos de los niños, como Sharon, fueron manipulados con alcohol o pornografía. A algunos les enseñaron a masturbar a sus abusadores. Otros eran simplemente manoseados. Fueron violados por vía oral, vaginal y anal. Algunas niñas quedaron embarazadas y fueron obligadas a abortar por los propios curas. Pero peor que los abusos fue el silencio que estas víctimas guardaron por décadas.
So on average, victims come forward at the age of 52, and the reason is because of the trauma of the abuse, but also because they end up with depression and PTSD and substance abuse, and so that slows their ability to come forward.
Marcy Hamilton es abogada y dirige Child USA, que protege a niños abusados.
Their problem is that the child is such a power differential from the adult. They're intimidated. They don't understand what happened, and so on average it can take up to age 52 to be able to say anything.
Es lo que le pasó a Sean, quien recién a los 21 años le contó a su familia lo que le había pasado. No le creyeron, cayó en el alcohol y en las drogas.
Didn't care if you lived or died, live life to the fullest. Whatever happens, happens. Nobody is going to tell me what to do. In 1994, at the lowest point of that train wreck, I attempted suicide. I took an entire bottle of overnight pills, 300 of them.
I had all 3 of my children while I was still being abused. And so they grew up with a mother being abused. I put myself in a hospital, a psychiatric ward. I was diagnosed as bipolar. I was in bed for 3 years. You know, they grew up without a mother.
Sharon tampoco tuvo el apoyo de su familia y solo se atrevió a denunciar después de un largo tratamiento psicológico, aunque el resultado no fue el que esperaba.
So then I went to the diocese and they said, okay, fine, we'll talk to him. Okay, fine. Never called me back. So I called them and I said, so what did he say? And they said, well, he said he didn't do anything, so it's your word against his.
El informe estableció que altos funcionarios de la iglesia, incluidos los obispos, sabían de los abusos cometidos por los sacerdotes, pero los encubrieron para evitar el escándalo, los cargos penales y los daños monetarios a las diócesis. Los sacerdotes pedófilos eran habitualmente trasladados a otras parroquias, mientras que los feligreses no sabían que eran depredadores sexuales.
So not only were they raping the children, they were setting the system up against those very children, so we could never, ever do anything about it.
The cover-up did more damage to me than the actual abuse. It's been more damaging to me the fact that I went to 2 bishops about what happened to me, and they acted as if they didn't believe me.
James Falusak fue abusado por su párroco en la secundaria entre los 16 y los 19 años.
From a very young age, I regarded him as a conduit to God, a way to get closer to God, and he really very much took advantage of that.
James le contó lo que pasaba a su madre, pero ella, una mujer que trabajaba para la iglesia, no le creyó. A pesar de todo, su fe lo llevó a ingresar al seminario y se ordenó sacerdote pensando que su abusador era un caso aislado en la iglesia.
I was ordained in 1996, and I enjoyed being a priest and found it to be very gratifying. In fact, the trauma of it didn't really hit me until I was well into the priesthood. I turned to drinking primarily. There were other substances that I abused as well, but drinking was the primary one. But it just became unbearable to me, really, to just be around other priests, to have to interact with the bishop who I didn't trust, and then, you know, also being aware of other priests who were engaging in either in misconduct or abuse.
De los más de 300 sacerdotes abusadores que fueron identificados en el informe de Pensilvania, solo 2 de ellos pudieron ser llevados ante la justicia. El problema está en un cuerpo legal que existe en este estado y que solo daba a las víctimas 2 años para poder denunciarlos ante los tribunales. Cambiar ese cuerpo legal depende de los legisladores estatales que trabajan aquí en este edificio, el Capitolio de Harrisburg.
Mark Rossi es diputado demócrata en el Congreso Estatal de Pensilvania. A los 13 años conoció al padre Graff, quien empezó a darle alcohol y mostrarle pornografía con la excusa de enseñarle de sexo.
And then he put me in the 69 position and started performing oral sex on me, and I didn't want to reciprocate, and he got up off the bed and then pulled me into the shower, had Tom come wait outside the bathroom door while he raped me in the shower.
Con el apoyo de sus padres, fue alejado del sacerdote que siguió abusando de otros niños de su colegio. Fue cuando una de sus víctimas se suicidó que Rossi decidió entrar en política y hoy encabeza la campaña para eliminar la prescripción de estos delitos.
For most of those people listed in that grand jury report, they only had 2 years to file civilly and 5 years to file criminally. So again, if a 5-year-old child is sexually abused, he only had till 7 to come file, and 10 criminally.
I only had 2 years past the end point of my abuse to press charges. That would make me 15 years old. You know, at 15 years old in a Catholic high school, to an Irish Catholic steelmaking father, I am supposed to
the priest that abused you.
He is not registered as a sexual predator, and he owns a home minutes from my home in Pennsylvania. And
nothing happened to him.
Nothing.
Esta modificación se discutirá el 13 de septiembre en Pensilvania, pero será una lucha difícil.
The Catholic Church has been lobbying up here since 1997 to keep victims silent. And then they go on TV, these bishops and these cardinals, and they say, well, this happened so long ago, it's only coming out now. Well, it's only coming out now is because in Pennsylvania, because you've been blocking reform legislation from coming out that would expose this long time ago.
Muchos de los sacerdotes pedófilos identificados en el informe de Pensilvania ya están muertos, como el que abusó de Sharon. Otros, sin embargo, caminan libres. Sin la eliminación de la prescripción, a las víctimas de Pensilvania solo les queda seguir con su propia sanación.
You've been abused and you have not told anybody. You need to tell someone. It's the beginning of your healing. Because to hold it inside, it'll blow your head up. It's just too much for you to handle.
Pennsylvanians are angry, confused, frustrated, brokenhearted, and determined to do something about this. So I am confident that we will be victorious. But I am equally as confident in that it's going to be a dogfight.
We want to have a church moving forward. They have to do something different.